Welcome back to Unit 7, Solving Quadratic Equations. Before we begin, make sure you have paper and a pencil. Okay, today's lesson is 7.13. What do we notice when we graph factored form equations? As you can see, the word graph is underlined because we're going to be looking at the graph of quadratic equations. And you've actually already seen the graph of quadratic equations before. This is the U shape. So let's jump into the parabola. What is a parabola? All quadratic equations are parabolas. The parabola is the U-shaped graph. Let's take a look at the parts of a parabola. The vertex, which is the max or min. The axis of symmetry, which is the line that cuts the parabola in half. A y-intercept, where the parabola crosses the y-axis. And x-intercepts, where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Let's take a look at an example. In this example, my parabola crosses the x-axis at -1 and 3. The vertex is a minimum at the point 1, -4. The y-intercept is at -3. And my axis of symmetry is this dotted line that cuts the parabola in half and passes through the vertex. Now let's focus in on the x-intercepts. The word root is another word for the x-intercept. In this example, the quadratic equation is y equals to x plus 3 times x minus 5. That's the factored form. When I look at the graph, my parabola crosses the x-axis at -3, so the root is -3, 0. And it crosses the x-axis again at 5, so the root is 5, 0. Let's take a look at another example. The quadratic equation is y equals to -x plus 3 times x plus 3. That's my factored form. And when I look at the graph, my root is right here because that's where the parabola crosses or touches the x-axis at -3, 0. Now it's your turn. Before you identify the roots of the factored form equation, we're going to watch a video of Miss Franks identifying the roots of a factored form equation. Happy Monday and welcome back to our remote learning classroom. This week we're going to be focused on graphs. The parabola that we're going to be looking at today is for the equation y equals to x squared minus 4. That's the standard form equation. When I factor it, I get y equals to x plus 2 times x minus 2. Either equation is going to give you this graph. One important part of the graph is the x-intercepts, also known as the roots. So I'm going to identify the roots of this graph. The roots are always on the x-axis. So this axis is my x-axis. So that's the axis that I'm going to look at to find my roots. So right here is 2, 0. My parabola crosses the x-axis. And my parabola crosses the x-axis again here at -2, 0. So now I'm going to compare the factored form equation to the roots. My factored form equation was y equals to x minus 2 times x plus 2. When I look at my roots are 2, 0 and -2, 0. When I look at my factored form and the roots, the numbers inside my factored form are very, very similar to my roots. And I'm curious if that happens every time we graph an equation in factored form. That's what you're going to figure out. You're going to graph equations in factored form, and then you're going to find the roots. And I want you to pay very close attention to the numbers inside of the parentheses and the x value that you get for your roots. Now it's your turn. What are the roots of the factored form equation y equals to x minus 2 times x minus 4? Nice job. The roots are 2, 0 and 4, 0. Now it's time for you to complete the classwork. Today's classwork is on Desmos. The activity is called Graphing Factored Form.